Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I'm on Able Avenue in Charles Village, and if you're following along more or less real time, you know that the 2023 Charles Village Festival is just around the corner, and there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on, as there always is, including a whole lot of stuff involving painted ladies. I think there's going to be a table with information about them. There's going to be a guided walking tour of them, and the reason for this focus is that it is the 25th anniversary of the first Painted Ladies contest here in Charles Village. If you are sort of scratching your head saying, well, all right, well, what is a painted lady? Well, the houses behind me are painted ladies. They're Victorian houses painted in all sorts of wonderful colors. As you can see, the spindles might have 2 or 3 or more colors on a single spindle. The cornice might have 2 or 3 colors. The trim around the doors and windows might have different colors as well. The door itself might have different colors. That's a painted lady. And of course, with Charles Village's focus on this year, we had to do a video on it. But we are going to start our story not in 2023 in Charles Village, but in 1963 on the other side of the continent in San Francisco. That's the year and the place where these really got started. But we kind of have to start our story 100 years before that with the gold rush of 1849 in San Francisco. In that gold rush, in just that first year, the city's population swelled from 800 to 25,000 people, and it kept swelling in the years afterwards. So in the 1860s and 70s and 80s, there was an enormous building boom in San Francisco, and a lot of the new houses took the architectural style of the day, which was Queen Anne or Queen Anne Victorian. And Queen Anne Victorian is known for its doodads, and yes, that is my official architectural term for them. Those doodads included brackets, gingerbread gables, spindles and balustrades on porches on the first floor, on the second floor even. There's a lot going on. Some of those houses were fancy houses in places like Nob Hill, but thousands of them were maybe a little bit more humble in neighborhoods all across the city. As a somewhat aside, many of the Nob Hill Queen Anne Victorians did not survive the tragic 1906 earthquake that shook San Francisco. Some of those Victorians, though, even in the more modest neighborhoods, were painted in pretty risque colors. A maybe curmudgeonly newspaper in San Francisco in 1885 reported with a wagging finger that many of the new Victorians in the 1880s were, quote, loud colors of reds and blues, and then maybe even worse, some had what they called uncouth yellow on them as well. By the 1950s, however, World War I and World War II, the story is people were taking leftover paint from the shipyards back to their houses, and so virtually all of the Queen Anne Victorians were various shades of battleship gray. That's when 1963 comes in, and an artist named Butch Carden decided he had had enough of battleship gray on his Queen Anne and painted it what were eye-popping at the time light green and gold and turquoise colors, starting off this boom. A number of his fellow artists thought that was a good idea, and they didn't just splash colors onto the houses. They were very thoughtful and meticulous about it, using that detailed Queen Anne styled stuff to really bring out the different colors. After a few years, this group became known as the colorists, and their numbers began to grow. They transformed entire blocks, even entire neighborhoods in San Francisco with the new multicolor schemes. Maybe the best known block for painted ladies is Steiner Street in Alamo Square in San Francisco. It's the entire block is all painted ladies, done very nicely. It's been featured on lots of different movies and TV shows. Maybe most recently, if you watch the show Full House, it's in the opening scenes there. We'll put a list of different movies that have featured painted ladies in them just for fun at the end. The term, if you're wondering, comes from 1978, a book called Painted Ladies, San Francisco's Resplendent Victorians. That's how we get the term painted lady. And from there, painted ladies spread across the country. St. Louis has got painted ladies in Lafayette Square, Cincinnati in a neighborhood called Columbia, Tusculum, Springfield, Massachusetts in Forest Park, and closer to home, Cape May, New Jersey has some really wonderful Victorians. And for the past 25 years here in Charles Village, Baltimore, we have Victorians. We got our start in 1988. That's when a neighbor here, Lisa Simeone, decided to paint her Victorian row house multiple colors, really the first person on the block to do that. And then she wandered around the neighborhood kind of eyeing the different houses and which ones would be good for painted ladies, and then left them a copy of that San Francisco Painted Ladies book, maybe for inspiration. Things ramped up a little bit when she met with her friend and neighbor, Steve Rivelis, and they got the Charles Village Benefits District to buy copies of the Painted Ladies book, kind of as a lending library. And then things really ramped up when Steve and Lisa got together in a brainstorming session with Steve's wife, Linda, and another neighbor, Donna Cobb. And they came up with the idea of a Painted Ladies contest. And then they got the Annie Casey Foundation to put in $20,000 of prize money. And so that first year, 1998, was the first year of the Painted Ladies contest. And there were prizes for things like Best Front Porch and Best Front Door. Local paint stores and hardware stores gave discounts for people buying Painted Ladies paint, I guess. And things really took off to where in not too many years afterwards, there were 60 different Painted Ladies. And now today, dozens and dozens. I'm not sure anybody has a full count of them. The contest didn't need to happen for too terribly long. It happened about 10 years, but then pretty soon, really painting your house in these wonderful colors became part of the ethos in Charles Village. I'm going to wrap up by saying that we are proud that Charles Village maybe has the largest cluster of Painted Ladies, certainly outside of San Francisco. So come on down to the Charles Village Festival and check them out. Check out the table, the walking tour, and for sure, the next time you have a visitor in town from San Francisco, bring them over here to help make this East Coast, West Coast Painted Ladies connection. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.